$400. That is the number on the little white jar of La Mer Creme de la Mer for 2 ounces of moisturizer. And before we go 1 inch further, let me be honest with you the way I'd want a friend to be honest with me. Some of the links below this video earn me a small commission. It costs you nothing, and I'm going to tell you the truth either way because that's the only reason you're here. So, is La Mer worth $400 at $50? I'm not going to give you a feeling about that. I'm going to read you the label, both labels. La Mer on one side, CeraVe on the other, and we are going to do the thing the counter never does. We are going to compare the actual ingredients, and let me show you what's really in the jar. When you turn La Mer over and read the ingredient list, the first thing that surprises most women is what comes near the very top. Algae extract. Yes, that's the famous part. But right alongside it, you'll find mineral oil and petrolatum and glycerin. If those last few sound familiar, it's because they are some of the most common, well-understood, inexpensive moisturizing ingredients in the entire industry. Mineral oil and petrolatum are occlusives. That's the technical word. It means they sit on top of your skin and slow down the water leaving it. They work. They genuinely work. They've worked for 100 years. They are also in a tub of plain petroleum jelly that costs about $5 at the pharmacy. Now, the part La Mer is actually selling you is something they call the miracle broth. It's a fermented kelp and sea algae blend, and the brand tells a beautiful origin story about it. And I want to be fair here, because radical honesty cuts both ways. Algae extracts do have some moisturizing and soothing properties. That part isn't invented. What I can't show you, because it doesn't exist in the public record, is strong independent evidence that this particular broth does something for skin after 45 that a good ceramide cream cannot. The dramatic results are the brand's results, measured by the brand. That's not nothing, but it's not proof either. So let me turn over the other jar. CeraVe was developed with dermatologists, and the whole idea behind it is almost boring, which is exactly why I trust it. It's built around 3 ceramides. Ceramides are the fats that already live in your skin barrier, the mortar between the bricks, and here's the thing that matters at our age. Your skin makes fewer of them every year after about 35. By 50, that barrier is thinner and leakier than it used to be. Putting ceramides back is one of the few moves in skincare that addresses the actual change happening in your face, not a change a marketing team invented. CeraVe also has hyaluronic acid to pull in water, and it uses the same petrolatum to seal it in. Same occlusive, same $5 workhorse, and the jar costs somewhere between $15 and $20. Let me do the math out loud, because the math is the whole story. 2 ounces of La Mer, $400. That's $200 an ounce. 16 ounces of CeraVe, give or take $18, depending on the day and the store. We are not talking about a small difference. We are talking about a jar that costs more than 20 times as much, gram for gram, for a formula whose hardest working ingredients are the same category of ingredients sitting in the cheaper one. Before I go on, let me teach you the one trick that makes you dangerous at any beauty counter, because it works on every jar, in every store, at every price. The ingredient list is in order. Whatever is listed first is the largest amount in the jar, and it goes down from there, so when you flip over a $400 cream, and the top of the list is water, mineral oil, and glycerin, you now know that the bulk of what you're holding is water and a couple of basic moisturizers, and the exciting-sounding hero ingredient, the one in the name, is way down near the bottom in a much smaller dose. That single habit, reading the order, not the front of the jar, will save you more money this year than any coupon ever will. Now do that with La Mer and the picture gets very clear. The famous broth is real, but it is not carrying the whole formula the way the price suggests. The water and the workhorse moisturizers are doing most of the lifting. And once you've seen that, you can never quite unsee it. There's one more line on the La Mer label worth pausing on, and that's fragrance. A luxury cream is partly a scent experience, and that scent comes from added fragrance. For a lot of us, that's fine. But after 45, skin gets more reactive, not less, and fragrance is one of the more common triggers for redness and that tight, irritated feeling. The ceramide cream, by design, keeps it simple and usually fragrance-free, which is the more honest choice for a barrier that's already working harder than it used to. If your skin has started talking back to products it used to tolerate, that's worth knowing. Whatever you try, put a little on the inside of your wrist or behind your ear for a few days first. A patch test costs you nothing and saves you a week of regret. Now here is where I'm going to stop and respect you. Because you are smart and you've been doing this longer than most of the people making these products. There are real reasons a woman buys La Mer, and I'm not going to pretend they're foolish. The texture is genuinely lovely. It melts. The scent is part of the experience. Opening that jar feels like a small ceremony at the end of a long day, and there is a real, measurable comfort in ritual. We know that it's not vanity. If a $40 candle can be worth it for how it makes a room feel, a jar of cream can be worth it for how it makes the morning feel. That's a fair trade if you go in with open eyes. What I won't let the counter tell you is that you are buying superior science, because when you read both labels side by side, you're not. You're buying a beautiful experience wrapped around a moisturizer. And that is a completely different purchase than the one the salesperson is describing. Here's the question I'd actually ask if I were standing at that counter with you. What problem are you trying to solve? Because if the answer is, my skin is dry, tight, and not bouncing back the way it did, then the honest, evidence-backed answer is ceramides, a good occlusive, consistent use, and sunscreen every single morning. CeraVe does the first two for under $20. If the answer is, I want 40 seconds of luxury that I look forward to, then La Mer might earn its place on your shelf. And I'm not going to argue you out of a pleasure you can afford and understand. What I don't want is for you to spend $400 believing it's the only thing standing between you and your skin falling apart. Because that belief is the most expensive ingredient in the jar, and it's the one they never list. Let me give you the honest middle path, because most real answers live in the middle. If you love the La Mer feeling, but the price makes your stomach turn, here's what a lot of smart women do. They use the inexpensive ceramide cream as their actual daily workhorse, morning and night, doing the real barrier work. And they keep one small jar of the luxury cream for the nights they want the ritual. You get the science where it counts and the ceremony where you want it, and you stop paying $400 to do the job an $18 jar already does. And if you've been buying the big jar for years and it's brought you joy, please don't let me make you feel foolish. You're not. You bought a feeling and you got the feeling. That's a fair deal. The only thing I want is for the next jar you buy to be a choice you made with the label in your hand, not a choice the counter made for you. And let me name the thing nobody at the counter will. A large share of that $400 price isn't in the jar at all. It's the heavy glass, the weighted lid, the white box, the advertising, the lease on the prime floor space, and the trained person whose entire job is to make you feel like you've arrived. None of that touches your skin. You're paying for it all the same. The ceramide cream skips every one of those costs and puts the money where your face is. That's not a knock on luxury. It's just the honest accounting of where your dollar actually goes. So let me answer the question I put on the screen. Is La Mer worth $400 at $50? For the science of keeping 50-year-old skin soft, supported, and protected? No. The truth is, the ceramide cream does that, and it does it for the price of 2 coffees. For the experience of a small daily luxury you understand and can comfortably afford. Maybe, and only you can do that part of the math. What it is not worth, ever, is going without the things that actually move the needle so you can afford the jar. If money is tight, and for so many of us right now it genuinely is, put your dollars on sunscreen, a retinoid, and a ceramide moisturizer. That's the real routine. That's the one with the evidence behind it. Everything above that line is a want, not a need, and there is no shame in a want as long as you know which one it is. Read the label, Do the math. Buy the feeling on purpose or skip it on purpose. Either way, you walk out of that store smarter than you walked in, and you never feel stupid for what you bought again. In the next one, I'm pulling apart the 5 skincare phrases that sound like hard science and actually mean absolutely nothing, the ones printed on the front of half the jars you own. Once you can hear them, you can't unhear them, and you'll save yourself a small fortune. I'll see you there.